Good morning everyone, welcome to my kitchen. For those of you that are new, my name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. Today we're doing pizzas for the freezer. I've been working on this for a while, trying to get it right so that I can make pizzas, freeze them, and then when we reheat them, they taste fresh. And I'm actually pretty happy with what I've got. And I've been par baking my pizza crusts. So you can then freeze the crust from there, and that works, and then top them once you get them out of the freezer. Or what I've done the last time was I fully stacked them with the toppings so that I could just pull them out of the freezer and put them directly into the oven. I haven't put them directly into the oven yet. I've always defrosted them a little bit, but I am absolutely loving how they turn out. So that's what we're doing today. I'm just using up some different things out of the fridge that could be pizza toppings. I've got some leftover diced ham, some breakfast burritos, and I've got leftover sausage, like you buy the big pieces of sausage from from Woolies, and then sausage mince. Anyway, and I like to cook that up and chop it up into little pieces, and I use it on pizzas and in breakfast burritos. And I've got a capsicum that I've I've burnt the skin. There's a word for that, I can't think. And I've peeled the skin off, and I'm going to use that as well. Anyway, as I'll show you as I go, but we're going to start off with turning our Thermomix on. So that's the on-off button for the TM7, and we'll wait for it to load up. So I have checked my bowl to make sure it is empty. We'll leave the lid off. Okay, so the other thing I've done is I've started a new bag of flour. So this is the old bag. I've tipped it in there, washed up my scoops, and I'm ready to go. So what I've got is, this is in recently cooked. So this is our front screen, and if we scroll down, we've come to recently cooked. And it's that simple. So we're going to start cooking. Now this is just pizza dough. I mean, it's like easy. It says to lightly grease a large bowl with oil and set aside. I have no idea where my large bowl is. I'm going to get I had a bowl, but I can't remember what I did with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my pizza mat out. My dough mat. And now we're going to make the dough. So we want 220 grams of, I love this pizza recipe, this pizza dough recipe. There you go. A teaspoon of sugar. That looks on it. And then 2 teaspoons of, it's all hiding behind the bag. 2 teaspoons of this instant dried yeast. Now, same as the other Thermomixes, I find if you pour the yeast down near the side of the bowl, it doesn't end up on top of that centre knob on the mixing blade lid. so it all comes in contact with water. Next, we're going to 20 seconds, speed 2. Just to warm it up. I'm going to duck and get my dough mat. Next, we'll just have a quick look at that. So I don't know, I mean, the TM7 is definitely quieter than the other Thermomixes. I mean, you couldn't even hear that was mixing the yeast in that. Rightio. So we've got 400 grams of baker's flour. I don't know how much is in here. Let's have a look. Rightio. Perfect. So I've got 2 measuring scoops. This is a cup scoop. I find it measures about 200 grams. And then this little quarter cup is about 50 grams. So depending on what I'm doing, 400 grams. Oops. And I just keep them in my bread bag, in my flour bag. 30 grams of extra virgin olive oil. I really love, I mean, it's like winning a prize when you get the weight right, and it gives you the little ping, and the tick. And a teaspoon of sea salt. Okay, and then next. And now we're going to knead it for 2 minutes. So, I mean, I say this all the time, but when you've got the knead mode on, don't walk away. I found with the TM6 on the slider board, I was a lot more trusting, but this here, once it starts to mix together, it definitely starts to bounce around a bit. So it's not really too hard just to stay here and keep an eye on things. And I usually just do a few things that, you know, work around this area, like just put things away in the cupboard and that, but I'm only like 1 or 2 steps away from the Thermomix. Rightio, I'll be back when it's finished kneading. Rightio, we're nearly there. And I've got my dough mat out. And that's our dough. Okay, so that pulls out pretty clean. What I am going to do with that is I've got a bit of cheddar cheese, a block of cheddar cheese in the fridge. It's only a tiny bit. And I'm going to chop it up in the Thermomix. Rightio, so let's do that. Okay, so next, and it just says to transfer into a bowl and work into a ball. Cover bowl with plastic wrap and leave to prove in a warm place until doubled in size, approximately an hour. Now, because it's winter, I like to speed it up by getting one of my thermoservers, filling it up with water out of the hot tap, and then sitting this on top of the lid. And I find that creates a nice warm area for my bread to rise. So I'll be back when this is doubled in size. Rightio, so all I did is I set the timer for an hour. So this, if you pull that down, that'll tell you the current recipe you're cooking. It's got that little, there's a little line up there, and you literally pull it down. It'll tell you the rest, show you what you're cooking. Then you can set a timer, scales, or a pre-clean mode. So, and this is our dough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into, this dough is warm on the bottom and freezing cold on top, because we're in the middle of winter. Rightio. So I'm just going to make this into 3, and you can weigh them if you like. I mean, they're not 3 even. Let's see. Let's go scales. What does this weigh? That's 250 grams. That's 203 grams. That's 211. No. So let's see what we got now. And that's as close as I'm going to worry about it. 226, 213, 220. Rightio. And that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to put some flour down. I'm going to make them into little balls. Okay. Put some flour down. And we will be ready to go. So, what do we got? All this says is cover bowl with plastic wrap and leave to prove in a warm spot until doubled in size, approximately an hour. Now that hour, it might have been good to leave it a little bit longer, but that was good enough. And then next, and then it says use as required. Rightio. So I'm going to put some flour down. And what I'm going to do with these is I am going to form them into my pizza base. And then I'm going to par bake them in an oven at 220 degrees for 4 minutes. So that's what works for me with my oven. And that gives me, so it's cooked enough, it's just cooked enough. I mean, we want it, so we don't want it brown. We just want it puffed and risen. And I don't mind if there's a couple of little golden flecks on the edges, but we don't want it cooked, cooked. I'm just going to pull this out a bit narrower. I want it a bit thinner. So about, what's that? That's a 20 centimetre pizza I'm making. So you can make it bigger if you want. Like you can just cut it in half and make this dough in half and make 2 batches. Anyway, no, so we've gone up a size. Now that's still 20, rightio. And I want to make sure there's lots of flour on the bottom. You can use semolina as well. You can put semolina on the bottom. And that's quite nice. Okay, and then I've just got, it's a dough docker. And I find if I just go like that, then it solves the, where it puffs up like that. Rightio. I'll be back. I'm going to put these in the oven at 220, 4 minutes. and then pull them out and cool them. So then I'll be back when I'm ready to put the toppings on. I'm ready out. So while our crusts are cooking, and I'll leave them to cool before I put the toppings on, I've got this little piece of cheddar cheese that I'm going to grate up. So I've got some grated mozzarella, and then I've got a mixed pizza cheese. Now, this isn't washed up from when I made the pizza crust, but that won't matter. Anyhow, so what I've got here is, I don't know how much it is, so we'll go manual cooking, and we want weigh. So what I usually do is 6 seconds, speed 6 seconds for cheese, for cheddar cheese. Okay, so that's 191 grams. So it might need a little bit more than that, but I'm going to do 6 and 6. 6 seconds. On speed 6. Oops. Don't know what I'm doing here today. Right? Start. And if it needs any more time, then I can give it more time. But let's have a look at what that did. Yeah. I'm going to give it another couple of seconds. I always start off with 6 and 6. Okay. 2 and 6. There we go. And that will do. There we go. Perfect. Oops, where's the camera? Here it is. Oops, I'll work this out. Yeah. Don't know if I've got my iPad upside down. It seems like the camera's in the wrong spot. Rightio. So I'm going to put that in a bowl, and then we'll do, then I'll do a pre-wash mode. So if we pull this down, we can go to pre-clean, and I'm going to use the universal one. Rightio, and it's a litre of water, and you can either just fill it up to the litre mark, you can weigh in 1,000 grams, or you can measure a litre and pour it in there, which is generally how I do it, because that's just easier. Rightio, and I'll put it on I'll do the universal wash, and then I'll be back when our pizza's bases are cooled enough for me to put the toppings on. Okay, just make sure you can see. That's my finished crust. So you can see that they've just started to get a little bit brown, but not real, because remember, we're going to cook these again. So I'll have to grab a spoon. And I'll just see if I can fit the 3 there, and I'll grab a spoon. Okay, so after I decided to make these, I realised that I had no pizza sauce left. Now, but I do have half a jar of tomato paste. Now, this is all we ever used to use when we were making pizzas. I mean, yeah, and then it used to get where you could buy the pizza tomato paste. But for most of my adult life, we only ever used tomato paste. Now, I just want a really thin smear. I don't want heaps. that one would probably be classed as having heaps. I'll see how I go on this one. I might get some back. No, I think that's enough for there. Rightio. Perfect. That's all we're going to do. Now I've got our cheddar cheese. I don't put... No, I just threw it on the ground. I don't put heaps of cheese on my pizzas. And then I've got some mozzarella that I grated up in the Thermomix and I've had in the freezer. Perfect. And that's all the cheese I put on except for a small sprinkle on the top once everything's on. So I'm going to start off with, I've got some cooked sausage meat. Now when I can't buy the sausage meat from the supermarket, I just buy sausages, butcher sausages, and peel them. But we love this on our pizzas, on our breakfast burritos. Favourite thing. I'm just going to finish it off on here. Okay, I'll leave that. That's a bit of fat. And I've got, this is just chorizo, a Spanish chorizo that I had left. What have we got? Okay, we might put another couple of pieces on here. And that pizza can miss out. And then I've got just a blackened capsicum, you know, that I put under the grill and charred and blistered the skin. And then once you cover it with, put it in a bowl, cover it with Glad wrap and let it sweat for a bit. And then the skin just peels off. And I love that on pizza. And now I'm just going to put another small sprinkle on top just for looks. I'll wrap 2 of these. And now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these on a tray and I'll freeze them. But what I am going to do is I'll cook one of these and then we'll cut it and taste it together. Rightio? I'll be back. Rightio. Okay, so that's one of our pizzas. Now I'll just show you the crust. You can see, like, that for me is perfect. And that's what I've been looking for, is a way to get a pizza to freeze and then defrost without ruining the crust, but still get that nice fresh. I want to say the crust wasn't overcooked, which is what I found. If you cooked the pizza and then froze it, once it came out of the oven, the crust was overcooked. But if you put a raw crust in, I found it didn't puff up, and by the time your topping was all brown, I mean your pizza crust wasn't still delicious. But I'm really loving this. You can see. So anyway, this is going to be our new method of freezing pizzas from now on. I'm going to try a few different toppings. I mean, I know that this freezes really well. But yeah, we'll try a few other toppings. Rightio. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, could you please give it a thumbs up? Pop over to my channel and subscribe. And I really hope I'll see you next time.